Hey y'all, I'm Kate with Salty Katie, and today I'm going to show y'all what I do to host a Mother's Day tea. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've been hosting Mother's Day tea parties for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. It is my favorite party to host every year because it's super easy and it's a whole lot of fun. So I thought, hey, we're about 3 weeks out from Mother's Day now. Why don't we, do a video on it and just see how it goes? So what I thought I'd do today is just show you a few of the recipes I use to host the party, and then show you the specific dishes and things you might want to use if you're hosting an afternoon tea. I realize right now some of us are still in lockdown, so you may not actually have access to your mama right now, and if that's the case, I've got a couple of ideas for you at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. So I want to start with the recipes first, but I have a little caveat. It would be a huge waste of food for me to really lay out the full afternoon tea. So what I thought I'd do is just make little small portions of a few recipes, just to kind of show you what I do. And then linked below is a Pinterest board with a ton of recipes and other inspiration on it if you want to research further about hosting a tea. I am also on a meal plan right now, so it would not be a good idea for me to make a huge amount of food and then just have it here in the house. So yeah, I'm just going to make little small portions. That'll be my cheat meal for this week, but I really wanted to show it to y'all, so we're just going to do it this way. Okay, so in terms of recipes, afternoon tea is usually composed of some finger sandwiches, some savory baked goods, and then some desserts. What I'm primarily going to show you today is how I deal with finger sandwiches, because I have a couple of tips about the bread and whatnot to make them really nice. And then I'm going to show you a couple of savory baked recipes that I absolutely love. So easy to make, and I've had really good feedback on those recipes from my guests. So why don't we start with the finger sandwiches, and I'll just show you how I serve them. Okay, so we're going to have some roast beef sandwiches today. I've got a little mayo here, some horseradish. Horseradish and beef is a really classic combination, and it is really, really delicious. So you just start off with maybe a tablespoon and a half of mayo per sandwich. I like a lot of mayo. You may not. And I also like a lot of horseradish. You definitely may not. Taste it after you put a little bit. Because that's one of those things that you can really, easily put too much. But a little is like so good. So be careful to spread all the way to the edges of your bread and try to get like even coverage. There are several recipes linked below for different types of sandwiches as well. Chicken salad, ham salad, pimento cheese, I often serve those. So there are definitely tons of different sandwich options, as well as more options on my Pinterest board linked below. I'm just trying to make sure I've got an even amount of roast beef here so the sandwiches aren't bumpy, lumpy. So here's the important part. You want to get the sharpest bread knife you can find, basically. And then just starting with one of the sides, carefully trim off just as little as possible. Just trying to get just the crust off so you don't have a whole lot of waste. It also will end up looking prettier in the end. So just gently cutting off those edges. Now, this is the wrong kind of bread you're looking at. You see how much is left over at the top there? You should try to get the squarest bread available. Do not get split top bread. It is the worst. And then I'm going to cut our little sandwich here into just 3 little finger sandwiches. You can also cut them into 4 triangle shapes, but I prefer this stick looking ones. And so here are our pretty little sandwiches. So cute. So here's the other important part. After you've got the sandwiches put together, take a damp paper towel and lay them across the top of the sandwiches. Anywhere there's bread, cover that, and it'll keep the sandwiches nice and soft and moist while you're preparing the other recipes. So we've got our sandwiches in the fridge under our damp paper towel. Let's move on to the savory baked goods. Okay, so I've got some Jimmy Dean hot breakfast sausage here. You don't have to use the hot one if you don't want to. And some phyllo dough. So I'm going to take and cut about 1/3 of this sausage because I think that's how much I'm going to need. And there's some little marks on the package. So I'm going to wipe off my knife because I'm going to need to cut the sausage rolls, or at least I think I am. I'm going to unroll this phyllo dough here. And this is when I begin to realize something doesn't look right, but I'm not really sure what the issue is. Let me smooth out the pastry. Maybe that'll fix it. Wipe my hands off a little bit, wipe my knife off some more. I'm trying to decide what to do here. Let's get the phyllo package. So what I basically did was purchase phyllo dough when what I meant to purchase was puff pastry. They are two completely different animals. And so before I took my toys and went home, I thought, you know what? Let me get on the internet right quick and find a phyllo dough sausage roll recipe so I can salvage this video because I've spent like a week working on it. And it turns out there are very, super simple. You can see the second roll I've made over on the side and figured out that it was super simple. So I'm just going to take one tiny thin sheet of this phyllo dough and I'm going to fold it in half. Well, I'm going to spray it with cooking spray first. And then fold it in half, lengthways. I'm going to spray it again. And then place a heaped tablespoon of the sausage right in the middle. And then I'm going to fold the sides in and roll the whole thing up from the bottom like a little egg roll. So those look pretty good. Let's stick them in the oven. Okay, so our sausage rolls are in the oven. Let's move on to mini quiche. Okay, so I have a couple of packaged pie crust here, some fully cooked bacon. I'm just going to stick a piece of that in the oven at 350 for 5 minutes. I've got some extra sharp cheddar and an egg. So what I'm going to do is open that pie crust after letting it come a little closer to room temperature. You don't want it all the way warm, or at least I don't typically use it that way. It comes rolled up, so just carefully unroll it. And then we're just going to use our mason jar to cut some little small mini quiche size circles. It's at this point I realized I was missing my mini quiche pan and my cooking spray. So here that is. And I'm just going to cut out a few little circles here. And then I'm going to roll up the rest of this dough and put it in the refrigerator. I will use it for something else. So you just need to spray your mini muffin tin with cooking spray so the little quiches will release easily, and just gently tap them down in there, kind of mash them around a little bit, and they are good to go. So now I'm just going to take my little bit of bacon and crumble that up and just put that right into little tiny pie crust here. Okay, so now I'm going to just beat the egg and get that ready to pour into the little mini quiche cups. But first, let's put a little shredded cheese in there, just a little touch in each one. They're kind of easy to overfill, so you just need a little bit. And now I'm going to make a mess. Woo! Way too much egg in that one. But you can see how simple this recipe is. The only thing I've actually cooked so far is one slice of pre-cooked bacon. Not at all difficult to make. So I'm going to try to scrape this extra egg off into that little little mini cup next to it. And then I'm going to try to soak it up with a paper towel. It's not going to work. Whatever, it's my house. I'll make a mess if I want to. Okay, so here's our little quiches ready to go in the oven. Okay, so our quiches are in the oven, and while that's happening, let's talk desserts. So I left a couple of recipes down in the description box. One is a southern tea cake. I don't know how many tea cakes I've eaten. It's a real common recipe in the South. It's very few ingredients like sugar, butter or grease of some kind, a little flour, a little vanilla. That's about it. And you just mix it up in a bowl and make you some cookies. Bake them in the oven. No big deal. The second one I wanted to kind of talk about was, what is it called? Mini Nutella mousse pies or something? Let me look. Mini Nutella mousse pies. Okay, so y'all know what Nutella is. Here's a picture. This stuff is delicious. These are made just very similar to how we made our miniature quiches. You take a pie crust, cut out a circle of the pie crust, put it down in a mini muffin tin, not the tiny one for the mini quiches, but a regular sized muffin tin. Bake that, and then the day of the party, you just mix up this really delicious mousse with Nutella and stick that in there. That's the whole dessert. And the link down below actually has video of the lady making this particular dessert, so if you need a little extra instruction, there it is. Okay, so we've got our desserts and all that stuff covered. Let's talk about dishes before the food comes out of the oven. So there are several different types of dishes you can use to serve the actual tea itself, so let's look at those. So here's my little white teapot, super cute. I really enjoy the rounded sides and it's super easy to use. I could not find this exact teapot, but I found one that's super similar. It's linked below from Amazon. Yeah, I really like this. And how cute would it look with a little tea cozy on it as well? So here's a super cute little teacup and a little teaspoon. I've linked some similar items down below. Again, I buy everything white because it just makes it super simple and everything will match whether it actually matches or not. If you're going to serve tea, you do need to serve sugar and milk. Some teas go better with one or the other. A little lemon wouldn't hurt as well. It just depends on the flavor of the teas you're serving and what the individual prefers. Of course, you need some tea as well. My favorite is Harney & Sons. It comes off Amazon. They come in these little tins. They have bunch of different flavors. I'm showing you a few options here. The first was Earl Grey. If you need a no caffeine option, this is chamomile. And the third one is this really yummy berry flavor. Oh, it is so good, y'all. But you can choose from a bunch, and I've linked some down below. Of course, to make tea, you need to be able to boil water, so you will need a kettle of some kind. I don't prefer this particular kettle because it's got this plug attached to it. So I've linked below one where the carafe actually comes off. And so you want to serve the water boiling hot on top of the tea. So while your water's boiling, you can get your teacup ready to go. I just put a little sugar in the bottom of mine because that's how I prefer my tea. And then choose a tea bag, whatever flavor you like, and plop that in there as well. Then you'll just pour over your boiling water and let the tea steep for 3 to 5 minutes. If you're using a kettle, you would do the same thing. Just put the tea bags in the tea kettle and let it steep in there. Okay, so there's the actual tea itself. Let's talk about serving the baked goods and the food. So, this really is my favorite thing about Mother's Day tea. They call it a 3-tier cake stand on Amazon. I linked this exact one below. It couldn't have been any more than $20, and I just love this little thing. I wish I had several. I just don't have space for it, but it looks so cute with the little food laid out. This is not necessary. You can absolutely serve afternoon tea without this, but I really, really like it. So there's that. Okay, so you could use also something as simple as this plain white pie plate to serve. If it's your family, who cares? I serve quite a few people, so I end up using a couple of these white 9x13, we call this casseroles. And if you get everything white, it doesn't matter if anything matches. It looks like it matches. So the only specialized piece of baking gear you need, if you want to make the little tiny mini quiches, is a mini quiche pan. I have one, well, not a mini quiche pan, a mini muffin tin. I'll have one linked down below. But you can also make the miniature quiches in a regular sized muffin tin. You'll just need to adjust the number of minutes that you cook the quiche, that kind of thing. And that's about it. So it's not particularly, involved and complicated. It's relatively simple, and you don't actually have to have, most of the stuff. You would need cups of some kind to serve the tea. You'd need some actual tea. But after that, you could sort of cobble it together from what you've got in your pantry without a whole lot of trouble, and you don't need a bunch of cooking skill. So again, fun and easy party to host. Let's get back to the food because I'm hungry. Okay, so let's get our little tea set out here. Here are our little sandwiches. Obviously, it would look better if it was completely full, but I could not see wasting that amount of food. Here are our sausage rolls, fresh from the oven. They came out looking amazing. And I keep trying to arrange them so that the camera can see them, but every time I put them on there, they just slide backwards. So eventually I just give up and move on to the quiche. And here are our tiny little quiches. Aren't they so cute? 25 minutes at $3.75. This one's a little odd shaped, but we'll pretend like we don't know anything about that. And there they are. So cute. Let's try a sausage roll. Oh, so good, y'all. So our tea is basically done at this point. Heat some water, maybe bake some tea cakes for dessert, and you are golden. Okay, so what do you do if you're still in lockdown or for whatever reason you don't have access to your mama on Mother's Day? I had a couple of kind of cute ideas I thought might be helpful in that situation. I linked below several of these different types of dishes off of Amazon. I thought it would be super cute to send your mama either like a little tea set of her own with a variety of teas, maybe just a nice teacup and like a new tea variety. And then I thought it would be super cute if you ended up sending her like a tea cozy that would fit on top of a teapot. They have them knitted, they have them crocheted, and they have them quilted. So cute. And if you started basically today, you'd have 3 weeks to get that done and then sent to your mama. I thought that might be a really cute idea. Now, if you don't have access to your mama for other reasons, either because she's passed away, she's just not available to you, know that you are on my mind during Mother's Day. So I'd love it if you leave me a comment down below. Let me know how you celebrate Mother's Day. Let me know if you've ever done like an afternoon tea type thing. I'd love to hear it. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you here again next week. Bye.